somehow the NDC knows how to use an IGP to influence an election outcome. And if they do, they should tell us how they did it in the past so all of us can learn. But as far as I am concerned, in observing this Fourth Republic, there is no evidence whatsoever that a police IGP can singularly determine an electoral outcome for any political party for that matter. So we in the MPP, we don't have any evidence of that. We don't know how to do it, but somehow they know how to do it. They must tell Ghanaians how to use an IGP to influence election in their favor. So we all know how not to do it. So the thing about this tape, something is that it's concerning. Now, I have made a deliberate effort not to listen to it because for me, I see it to be a possibility of many things. While I agree principally for the parliamentary inquiry committee that is put together to look into it, they must do their job diligently. We're all interested in the matter. But it worries me to say that before that committee's work or any committee dealing with this tape comes up with any report, there seemed to be a conclusive position from the NDC, collectively focused to come to the place to say that this is MPP. I don't get it. That was why I raised the concern that if they know how to use an IGP to rig an election, they should show us, because we don't know. And there's no evidence in this Fourth Republic. And I'll show you some evidence.
But the question about politicizing the matter, you are hearing people of politicians, so to speak,
right,
and you are hearing them say, this is for the purpose in federance of MPPs, agenda, break the eighth. So who is politicizing it?
Well, but I'm referring to the NDC's conclusive position. Now, even let me just deal with what you just raised. So, assuming that these people are political operatives, you're looking at capacity, right? Who are these people? Do they have capacity in relation to the New Patriotic Party to take those decisions or to be making those negotiations on behalf of the party? And I tell you, it's zero.
Okay.
Right? You didn't hear my general secretary on that. You didn't hear my national chairman on that. You didn't hear any of our party executives on that. You didn't hear me.
A former regional
we're talking about executives.
Okay.
Right? You didn't hear me on that tape. So what is the capacity of people who are sitting somewhere whose the authenticity of that tape has not been verified yet? So the conclusive position of the NDC is worrying. And I say that they should tread cautiously. Now, Felix was very emphatic about Honorable Damboche's position and say, oh, he should know better. Again, is it something they know to do with an IGP and election that they are not telling us? Because if you read something that is very tricky to side or agree with the former OSP, but he did some analysis and suggested that you couldn't use an IGP to rig an election, even if you wanted to. Suggesting that, assuming Felix was saying about if he's in charge of the operational issues of the election, deploying people to go here, district, regional commanders, and all of that, that he has the capacity to do that. And he went to say that even if you did that, there are people in the service who, as a matter of conscience, would probably go tell on you that this is what you're doing. So unless the NDC has a way, there's a foolproof way they do it, they should tell us. But as a matter of fact, that this tape should be investigated. The concerns, the matters raised there are concerning. But I know for sure that in relation to the appointment of the IGP, the president has the capacity, is vested in the president, the power to appoint is vested with the president. So if the president appoints, if he needs, there's a reason he wants to disappoint, subject to performance or lack of performance, he could do that. And so it doesn't lie in anybody's conspiracy for the president to act. That power rests with him. And he has not indicated anything in that direction. And that's why I would disagree with Felix when he is disagreeing with the Interior Minister to suggest that, the Interior Minister appears somewhat flippant in making his comment to say that the IGP stays put. I don't understand how he comes to that conclusion. The Interior Minister is a sector minister under whom the IGP works. So if he speaks in the manner he spoke to say that the IGP has no question to answer, to that extent, he stays at post. The minister represents the president in that ministry, and so has spoken and therefore spoke the mind of the president. So I'm not sure how Phyllis and the NDC think they can speak. He's not the only person who has made that point. I've heard in Parliament, I think Honorable James Ahiagbah and the rest who've commented on this matter in Parliament talk about how is it that the minister should investigate a thing when he sees there's nothing to be investigated. What is there to investigate? Samson, if people just sit somewhere to make commentary that has no effect in terms of action, has no effect on you who is supposed to run this program. So we should investigate them, we should arrest them just because they say something, not in relation to you, something they said that you cannot be influenced by. So certainly we should investigate. Now the idea, just a minute. So then what it is that I understand the Interior Minister to say is that then you end up investigating anything anybody brings up. But he has a principal job of ensuring the security of the state. Right. You don't want to put him on the wild goose chase just because somebody records something and put it out.
In 2020,